Hey boys and girls, we're back again today with some more Evisceration 2 lore, and today we're going to talk about Kur-shan the Heretic, the part 2 anyway. We've been waiting a while for this and I hope you guys enjoy it. So to begin even talking about Kur-shan the Heretic, we have to first go to her lore log, which we finally got after the anniversary update. So let's get right into it. Her lore log basically reads, a blue flash appeared in one of the storage bays of the contact light. The chaos ensuing on the ship was a perfect distraction. As soon as Kur-shan stepped out of the portal, she ducked into a sprint. She had no time. She weaved between gunfire and fireballs, between blasts of vagrant energy and onboard security systems. They paid no mind to the feathered figure as she dashed through closing blast doors. She flew quickly down the halls of the ship, despite it being her first time aboard a human vessel. She could sense the electromagnets in the walls, and where they all joined, she corked right, shooting into the ventilation shafts with a bang. The captain barely had a chance to see her before she blasted sideways out into the control room. She tore out 2 wind blades as he reached for his pistol. The captain fell to the ground in intervals. Her momentum crashed her into the control panels, both feet digging deep into the monitors. She didn't need those. Nimble, clawed fingers began ripping across keypads. She quickly split and rewired components, reaching into her feather pouches for more bridges and other electronics. Various capacitors fell onto the floor. The ship was big, but not complex, and more importantly, it could still fly. But she had to go fast, or and before she could finish her thought, he appeared in a flash of thunder. Blue and green light reflected off of his sword, cascading around the bridge. A cape fluttered, and Providence landed lightly on his feet. Kur-shan bent her head backwards over her body, hands still tearing at panels. He was much faster than she expected, but maybe he would. And her last thoughts were interrupted instantly by a crystalline blade. From there, we know exactly what happens to Kur-shan. She's eviscerated by Providence using his sword, and the lunar heresy items that are related to her show which happened to each of her body parts and what was done with them, and their current state after being eviscerated by Providence. The first one coming from Visions of Heresy. And for her betrayal and her lies and her scheming ways, the heretic was violently separated into 4 distinctive pieces, each to be scattered across the farthest depths of the moon. First, her many eyes were plucked from her skull and sealed in boiling glass, forced forever to gaze at her failure. The next excerpt comes from the Hooks of Heresy. Her arms were warped into terrible blades, so she may no longer find joy in study or tooling. Thereafter comes the Strides of Heresy. Her legs were scattered to the 2 poles of the moon, twisted in a wicked position in a field of obsidian thorns. And last comes the Essence of Heresy, and her heart, too wicked and full of hate, was left where she once stood at the site of her betrayal, the Evisceration of Kur-shan the Heretic. 6. Kur-shan's lore log and just the lore logs pertaining to all the heresy items tell us a lot about her as an individual. She was extremely intelligent, and she liked tinkering with tools and making things overall. If you look at her form, she seems to be, or she was, an alloy vulture, and after Providence eviscerated her, he changed her form. So she was probably a unique individual among the alloy vultures, and was just way more intelligent than many of her brethren or kin overall, which led to her being able to understand and do things that the others couldn't. Because she talks about the electromagnets in the contact light, and she understood, and she was doing something or trying to modify the ship for a specific reason, which we don't know. And your guess is as good as mine. But both Providence and Mithrix referred to her as a heretic for whatever reason. She probably just went against their way of life, or whatever Providence was doing, she was against it. Maybe she was just for survival of the fittest, or for whatever reason. We don't actually have a conclusive evidence, but we know she wanted to destroy whatever they were doing, or just go against their ideology or doctrine overall. But so far, of all the pieces of lore that we know about her, up to this point in the update. I think the most relevant one would be when you actually beat the game with her and you escape on the ship, and the message that reads at the end, as each of the survivors have their own unique dialogue or text that's read at the end. Hers is very interesting. It basically reads, "And so they left, bitterly avenged and deeply lost." So Kur-shan had a reason to seek vengeance against Providence and Mithrix. We have to infer what that is, but let me know what you guys think about it. Share your theories and all that. Like, sub, share, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for the support. Oh, follow me on Twitch. I stream Risk of Rain sometimes. I'm all over, and I just enjoy playing games with you guys, so show up sometime. Oh, and stay safe. We're still technically in a pandemic.